Good morning. Today we're going to be learning how to add fractions. So, today we're going to solve number stories involving the addition of fractions referring to the same whole and having like denominators. So, we learned on Tuesday about having the whole. And so today we're going to work on addition problems. So here's the directions. Solve the number story on this screen and the next one using a different strategy for each one. Okay, so fill the box with the whole is the first. Ryan and his three sisters painted the walls of their family room. Ryan used 2/3 of a can of paint. Each of his sisters used 1/3 of the same can. How much paint did they use all together? So we're going to think about what would be the whole in this story. Before we were using fraction pieces, but today we're looking for something from our story that is our whole. I want you to think about what that might be. Good. The whole would be a can of paint. A can of paint. Now, let's think about a number model with the unknown. Okay? So let's think about it. So Ryan and his three sisters. So there's 4 different people. Ryan used 2/3 of a can of paint. So we're going to go ahead and write 2/3 plus each of his sisters used 1/3. And I know he has 3 total sisters. So I'm going to have to write 1/3 3 times. Plus 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3 to equal our unknown, which is our whole, and in this case is a can of paint, so I'm just going to use P. So, let's think of one way to solve a fraction addition problem. So, what makes it easier to help me is I'm going to use my fraction circle pieces. So we are talking about thirds. So I'm going to use these fraction circle pieces. I'm going to go ahead and get a couple out for us. So I know that Ryan used 2/3. So let's break these up. Ryan used 2/3. So here's Ryan's circle pieces. Here's Ryan's, and I'll just put a little R right here for Ryan. And each of his sisters used 1/3. So let's go ahead. Here's one sister's piece. One sister. Let's break this one up. Oh no, I deleted it. Whoops. Bring it up here. It will break it. Here's another sister. And here's another sister. And then so we don't need that, so I'm just going to drag it to the trash can. Alright, now let's go ahead and label these. Sister 1, Sister 2, and Sister 3. Okay? Scroll down a little bit. So, now let's add how many pieces we have all together. So let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we know we have 5 pieces, and they're thirds. So one way you could write it would be 5/3. But there is a better way to write it, and I'm going to show you guys how we're going to do that. So with this being here, we can put these circle pieces together to help us. So here's 1. So we have 1. And let's take the other 2 pieces we have from the sisters. Put those next to each other. And so the better way to write this could be 1 2/3. So I have 1 whole right here and 2/3 right here. So that's another way that you could break it down. All right, let's go look at our next problem. Okay, so this says, solve the number story. Use a different strategy than you used on the previous screen. Allie and Charisse both run to stay in shape. On Saturday, Allie ran 3/8 of a mile more than Charisse. Charisse ran 7/8 of a mile. How far did Allie run? So let's look at our problem and let's figure out what the whole is. So when I'm looking here and reading, I'm deciding that 1 mile is a whole. Now, we need to do a number model with the unknown because we're trying to figure out how far did Allie run. So, on Saturday, Allie ran 3/8 of a mile more than Charisse. Charisse ran 7/8 of a mile. How far did Allie run? So I'm going to go ahead and write that Charisse ran 7/8 and Allie ran more. So I know that I'm going to be adding, because I see the word more, 3/8 more. And that will equal our unknown, and I'm going to write an M for our unknown for mile. So last time we used fraction circle pieces to solve the problem, but I'm going to show you guys a different way that we can solve the problem. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a number line. Okay, a number line. And so I know that we're dealing with 8s, so I'm going to start with 0. And I'm going to split this up into 8s. Okay, so here's my first 8 pieces. So I'm going to write 8/8 there. Or 8/8 could also be a 1. A 1. Okay. Sorry for the bad drawing, guys. It's a little hard to write on these iPads. And so another 8 would be 16/8, because 8 plus 8 equals 16, or 2 to simplify it. So Charisse ran 7/8. So I'm going to go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'm going to put a big line over top and put a C for Charisse. And that she did 7/8. 7/8. Allie ran 3 more 8s. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. And I know that those are going to be Allie's. And so Allie ended up right here. And we know that this is 8/8. So 8/8, 9/8, 10/8. So let's go ahead and label that 10/8. 10/8. So our answer with the unit, I'm going to go down and put it below it. But for D, our answer below it would be 10/8, or what's a better way we could write it? So we know right here the 8/8 is 1, so this is 1. Remember, we drew that up here, it's 1. Or 1 and 1, 2, 2/8. So you can write it like this, or you can simplify it and also write it as 2/8. Okay, let's go ahead and go to our next screen. Okay, so we are going to just add these fractions. So, a simple way that you can do this when you're adding fractions that you can remember is that when you're adding fractions that you never change the denominator. So I know for 100% that my denominator is going to stay 10. I don't add them together to get 20, I just leave it as 10. But I am going to add the numerators together. So my numerator on this one is 2, and my numerator on this one is 5. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 2 plus 5. And when I add those together, I know that I get 7/10. Okay, let's try the next one. It might look a little scary because the numbers are big, but remember, I never change my denominator. So I'm going to keep it as 100. And now I'm just going to add 80 plus 30. So 80 plus 30. And remember, guys, I can use the 0 as my hero trick. So I can just add my 8 plus my 3. Then I get 11. And then I just add my 0 to the end. And so I get 110. So that's one way you could write it. Or there's a better way. I know that 100 out of 100 would be 1 whole. So I could put 1. And then so if I have 100 and my numerator is 110, I have 10 left over because I'm taking away 100 for the whole for 1, and I will put 10 over 100. So this is one answer, but there also is a better answer. Okay, let's try our very last one. Like I said, I'm going to leave my answer exactly the same. So we're going to keep a 6 on the bottom. Now let's add the top. 2 plus 3 equals 5, plus 1 more equals 6. So one way I could write it would be 6 over 6, or a better answer would be 1 for 1 whole, just like we learned today.